YouTubers, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at something, because we usually do. Today we're going to be looking at a spotting scope. What spotting scope is that, I hear you ask? Well, let's take a look. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be looking at the Meade Wilderness spotting scope, the 15 to 45 by 65. Now, you probably already know that because you've seen the title of the video, so no great surprise there. So here it is in its box. Let's just take a look at the blurb, see what it says. Meade high quality 15 to 45 power zoom spotting scope. Deliver years of rugged use. That's great English. Fully multi-coated optics and back 4 prisms. They're good, by the way. Provide bright, detailed, high resolution images. It's waterproof. It's nitrogen purged. It's fog proof. Rubber armored. Protects against the elements. Well, that's what you want, isn't it? Includes a padded case, cleaning cloth, and camera adapter. Lifetime limited warranty. Well, it sounds pretty good to me. Why don't we just have a look in the box, see what we get? Okay, guys, let's open the box and see what we've got inside. So the 65mm size scope is what I would refer to as a mid-size scope in terms of the objective lens. 65mm is going to give you pretty decent light gathering capacity, which is always important when you're zooming. Obviously this is a zoom scope, so it will have a zoom eyepiece fitted, which will give you minimum of 15 times magnification, and obviously a magnification maximum of 65 times. So the case that you get with the scope is what we call a stay-on case, which means it's designed to be operated on the actual tripod itself. So if it's raining, if it's wet, windy, whatever, you can keep the case on and it just actually protects the scope. We'll take the scope out of there, like so. Nicely wrapped up. Fairly standard really, but nevertheless pretty nice. Take the sellotape off, so we can see what we're doing. And there we have the Meade Wilderness 15 to 45 by 65mm spotting scope. For those that don't know, the 15 to 45 is the magnification, so you can start off at 15 times magnification and then you can ramp that up to 45 times. The 65mm is obviously, well, perhaps not obviously, but the objective lens diameter. And if we just take off that objective lens cover, you see there's quite a nice lens cover on there. And we also have a inbuilt sunshade, sun hood there, which if you're looking at direct sunlight, which you don't want to do, but if you've got direct sunlight, that is going to help protect any lens glaring caused by the sun. So that's quite a nice little feature. Underneath we've got the tripod threads, so you can attach that to the quick release plate of a tripod pretty easily. What I like about this scope straight away is that if you release that screw slightly there, you'll find that you can twist round the tripod attachment, and what you'll see when we've got this on the tripod in a little while is that that is really cool for adjusting the angle of the scope to make it comfortable to use. So you're not having to look necessarily straight down into it, you can twist it round and have it at various different angles. Here we've got the focusing wheel just there. You can see it's a single focus wheel. Sometimes you get dual focusing, which just gives you what I would call a fine focus, so you can dial right in and get it really, really sharp really quickly. and do a bit of fine tuning as well. And on the side there appears to be some sort of mount mechanism where presumably you could attach something. I'm trying to think what, possibly a finder scope would go on there, just go on the side. So you could slide that on. There appears to be like a dovetail mount on there. I'm not quite sure why you'd want to use a finder scope with this particular scope. However, that's what it looks like. So let's get it on the tripod and see what it performs like. So getting it set up on the tripod couldn't be easier. He says, let's do it. Ta-da! So, as you can see, getting it set up on the tripod was fairly simple and easy to do. It's a relatively lightweight scope, it's not too heavy to handle. It is fully waterproof. It is nitrogen purged, which means that it's not going to fog up if you take it out of the warm environment into a cold environment and vice versa. Sometimes these scopes develop condensation on the lenses, and that can be an issue. It's always a good idea to try and let your optics acclimatise to the temperature for a half hour or so. That way it does prevent any fogging whatsoever. Let's just take this off. I don't think we need that on. It's just a little reminder that we should not be looking straight at the sun. Important safety tip there. To access the eyepiece, we quite simply just unscrew the protective cover, and hopefully you can see that the eyepiece there says 45 times magnification and 30 times magnification. It's just simply a case of twisting to get the desired magnification. Typically what I find is that if you were to, for example, start off at 15 times magnification, you get a nice wide field of view. And then when you twist that eyepiece, you're going to find that the magnification cycles through 15 and then up to 30, then up to 45. Now, a lot of people fall into the trap of thinking that the magnification is the be-all and end-all. It really isn't. I'm going to say the sweet spot on this scope is probably around 30 times magnification. At the high end, i.e. 45 times, you're going to find that the image quality deteriorates quite considerably. Sometimes I liken it to looking through tracing paper, and because the field of view narrows so much, you find that any little shake or movement is amplified and the image tends to bounce around quite a lot. So what you'll find is if we just loosen this screw here, like so, we can then twist and revolve the actual scope to different angles. So if I step back a bit, maybe you can see clearly. You could have the eyepiece at that angle, you could have the eyepiece at the traditional angle, but if you can imagine, if you're looking down into the scope, you are going to have to be quite tall to do that. So another way of doing it is to angle it in that direction, so you're almost looking at the scope from a side-on perspective. And I'm not sure why you'd want to. You could even have the scope like that. So if you were, let's say, 3 foot, you could actually look up into the scope. I mean, it's effectively upside down now, but the image would still be in the right direction, i.e. upwards. But typically, yeah, a lot of people decide that they want to have it at that sort of horizontal angle like that, and it's just easier for them to use, depending on the size of the tripod that you've got. There's probably other reasons why you might want to do that. If you were, for example, using this scope for target shooting, i.e. shooting a rifle or even a pistol from the prone position, you needn't necessarily want to get up from the prone position to look through it like that. So you might have it set like that, which means you can just twist your head to one side and effectively not have to move too much. But I guess most people would just have it at that angle there. It's intuitive and seems to make sense. And obviously just twisting that again locks it off in that particular angle. So yeah, that's the Meade Wilderness 15 to 45 by 65 scope. I'm going to attempt to show you what various different magnifications look like, and to do that I'm going to have to point the camera down the eyepiece. But anyway, let's just have a look at what the magnification is at 15 times, 30 times, and then 45 times. Okay, let's do that. Okay guys, here we go. Let's have a look what 15 times magnification looks like. At the moment we're not using any magnification because I'm just using the camera, but if you can see above the rooftops there's a church spire with a cross on the top. I'm not using a digiscope adapter. I'm just going to try and get this image through the actual camera that I've got in my hand. So let's have a look what 15 times magnification actually looks like. Okay, that was 15 times magnification. So I'm now gonna turn this up to 30 times magnification, which is about there, 30 times. So let's compare this to the 15 times, same view, same steeple. Let's see if we can get this in shot. Okay, not an easy thing to do. At that sort of magnification, every little movement of my hand is completely magnified and makes it look like a right dog's dinner, if I'm honest with you. However, let's just get this up to 45 times magnification and let's see how close the steeple looks at 45 times. Here we go. Okay, so what I didn't do there is I didn't focus it in at 45 times. You're going to have to adjust the scope, the focusing on the scope, because you're looking at different magnifications. So don't take into account the sort of quality of the image. That really was a test just to show you what the difference between the magnifications looks like. I'm not quite sure how it came across in the video, but like I say, typically 30 times magnification on the scope will be ample. You might want to use 45 times if you're trying to read a number plate or a sign or, you know, that kind of thing where the image quality isn't as important as the actual item that you're looking at identification wise. Typically as well, I would suggest using 15 most of the time to locate what it is that you're looking for, and then once you've found it, like a bird on a branch or something like that, you can then zoom in on it up to 45 times, but I think you'll find that 30 times gives you the best optical quality. Something else worth pointing out is that you also get a digital camera adapter with the scope, which enables you to fit a DSLR type camera to it. So all you would need is the appropriate T-ring mount adapter, depending on whether you've got a Canon or a Sony or a Nikon or whatever. Those typically cost about £15, and once you've got that and your camera, as per this image here as an example, you will be able to put your camera on the back of the scope and essentially turn it into what I would call a paparazzi lens. So that would give you some pretty decent magnification, and it gives you a stable platform for shooting. So I hope you liked our little look at the Meade Wilderness scope. I think for the cost of it, which is about £140 on Amazon, it's a fairly decent scope. The build quality of the scope is nice. It doesn't feel cheap and plasticky, although clearly it's made of a polycarbonate body, so it's going to feel a little bit plasticky. The image quality seems to be pretty good for the price. It's not ED, which is, let's say, desirable, but it does have the back full prism built in, which is a very desirable kind of prism. Sometimes you get the cheaper on the lower end models, the BK7 prisms, and they're not quite as good in terms of image clarity. But this does have the backfall prism, so from that perspective, it's going to give you a nice sharp image. I really would like to take this scope out into the field. It will be interesting to see how it handles actually in a proper environment. Here we're just in a showroom and we're looking through glass, i.e. the windows. That never gives you a really good example of how good the image quality is. What we did demonstrate though is the magnification. I know the image clarity wasn't that great in the demonstration, but at least it gave you an example of how close the actual 15 to 45 times magnification will bring. So from that perspective, I'm quite chuffed with the scope. For the money, it's pretty good. There are alternatives out there, of course there are. One that immediately springs to mind is the Bar & Stroud Sahara, maybe the Bar & Stroud Sierra. You've also got the Hawk Vantage scopes, and also the Celestron Ranger scopes, which we're going to be looking at in another video. Meade, it's a nice brand, and I think it represents pretty good value for money, so I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Okay, I hope you liked our little look at the Meade Wilderness 65mm scope. We'll try and look at some of the other models in the Meade range in future videos. If you did like the video, please give us a like. Thumbs up always helps. Please subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Look out for more videos like this one coming along, and we'll see you next time.